Hey, everybody, welcome in to the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. Appreciate you joining us today. Again, we have our weekly visit from Kevin Moulder from PBR, Missouri. Thanks, Kevin, for being on. We caught him shooting out to the tournament that they're having in central Missouri. It's going to be a big one. We appreciate you stopping in and making sure you joined us today, Kevin. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, excited to be here, and on my way to go watch some good baseball, kind of in the middle of the state, and I'm fired up to see some of these teams out of this tournament the next couple days.
It's going to be a good one. Folks, just real quick, as always, YBMcast is powered by Game 7 Baseball. If you're looking for your tournament weekend in Tennessee, Illinois, or the St. Louis metro area, please check out game7baseball.com. Get your team registered. Get into a good tournament this weekend. All right, let's get into this. Kevin, we're going to take a quick stroll through our the PBR Missouri rankings to start off with.
Sure.
I had a great conversation. I've had two conversations this week with two of the top three teams. I talked with Coach Goff on Monday, and we talked with Coach Perkins on Wednesday. Those are out. If you guys haven't seen those, check that out. Check out those conversations with those coaches. Had a really good conversation. And then Zumwalt West proceeded to go out and stomp a mud hole in I shouldn't say that. That was wrong of me.
They played very good game.
Yeah, we'll use that terminology. You know, I mean, I don't mean no disrespect to other teams, but wow. They played Troy Buchanan and just beat them up.
Yeah, and Troy's a pretty good ball club too. So I think it just speaks to the level that Zumwalt West is playing at right now. So it's and they're one of the teams in this tournament that I'm going out to see in Jeff City. And I was looking at the schedule, and I looked at it at first, and then I went back and looked at it again and did a double take. They got a triple header on Friday, so we're going to find out how deep they're going to get a chance to show off their depth, and they do have it. So it'll be they will be tested this week because it is a stout tournament, and you're going to play 3 games in one day, and I think it'd be 5 in 2 days. That's going to challenge. I mean, that would challenge big league teams' depth. So it will be interesting to follow.
Yeah, speaking of the tournament, I'm interested to see how Jeff City that matchup is. But for you personally, what games are you going to be at?
I'm going to start at the Howell Jeff City game today. But this is going to give me an opportunity to see just teams from across the state. I'm going to go see Columbia Rockbridge, who I've actually seen once already. They got a nice ball club. I'm real excited to see Blair Oaks. They're a small school, but have a good team. They got a 2023 left-hander named Will Lippert that is highly regarded and getting pretty heavily recruited, mid to upper 80s lefty, athletic kid. So I'm excited to see Blair Oak. I'm excited to see Borgia, another small school that's playing really well, winning games. And then Lee Summit's going to be over there. CBC, of course. Staley. Staley's got one of the best left-handers in the state. A kid named Troy Wansing, who I saw earlier this year, opening weekend. That's like 88, 92, and good athletic kid, 6'2"-ish. That has the scouts' interest. So there's let's see, Hickman High School is going to be over there, Rolla, Battle, Owensville. So this thing for Zumwalt West, of course, this is going to be a good tournament.
I think that's the best part of this when you start looking at, you've got your rankings out and you're looking at these teams. Are they that good when you start pairing them up against that competition? And that's the biggest thing. And when I had the conversations with Coach Goff and Coach Perkins this week, that was what they said. We want to play that stiff competition all year. They're not they don't shy away from it. They're seeking out that big time play. So when they get to districts, when they get in that state playoff, they're not shook by that.
Yeah, you got to really respect teams that go out and play. When I do these rankings every week, that can be a challenge. You got one team that's has a gaudy record, but maybe hasn't played a strong schedule. And then there's other teams that still have a good record, but have a couple losses to their name. But you go out and challenge yourself. It's really not about the rankings. It's about setting yourself up to be successful in the postseason and making your team the best you can for the end of the year. And a lot of these teams in this tournament have done so. And it's fun. Like, you got your St. Louis teams, your Kansas City teams, your mid-Missouri teams, and you kind of know who the best teams in St. Louis are and the better teams in Kansas City are because they play each other. Well, you can always this team's better than that team. Now we get to find out. It's not a guess or talking. We're going to put it on the scoreboard, and we'll know after 7 innings, hopefully.
Well, yeah, going back to that, let's take CBC because we haven't really dived into CBC that much. We didn't talk about them that much last week. I mean, they're 8-4,
Yep.
But I guarantee you nobody wants to play them when it comes to the state tournament because they're loaded.
No, they are extremely talented. They are a touch young. They do have some very young players that are extremely talented, but they are really deep. They got probably 8 college baseball players in their starting 9, maybe 9, and they have pitching depth. That Charlton going to Missouri State, Esker going to SEMO. Those are top end lefties. Naz Zanantello, another arm for him going to Miami. So I'm not hitting all their pitchers there, but that's some impressive depth that I just rattled off without trying too hard. Right off the bat. And they're certainly not a group you want to play.
Yeah, I mean, but that goes back to you look at, if you're going record only, I mean, they're 8-4 and they're right now they're a 10, they're a ranked number 10, but
yep.
I mean, they could easily make a run to win state.
So then you got to look at, so how do you match that up where like West is a heavily senior-laden team, junior seniors. So does that experience match up? Does CBC have more talent than West?
I would say that's a fair statement. CBC at least, in terms of major school players and draft potential, that type of stuff, they probably are ahead. But that's not disrespectful to Fort Zumwalt West because they're clearly the best team in the state right now. They're very veteran laden. They have a bunch of really good players, guys that are going to go play college baseball, and one of those kids might make the big leagues one day. That you never know. But if you're being honest about it and like who has the most talent, I would say CBC. That doesn't mean they're the better baseball team, though.
Right. It reminds me of, you take like your college basketball, and you've got a senior heavy like Villanova, and matched up against a Kentucky who's all freshmen. And you're like, Kentucky's got the NBA guys, they've got all the talent, but Villanova's got the seniors, they've got the experience. That's what these two teams remind me of.
Yes.
That's a great comp.
There's a huge difference between a kid that's 18 years old, that's gone through the gauntlet, and then a kid that's 16 who's projected to be a pro player or a high D1 player. This age, there's a big difference between 18-year-olds and 16-year-olds, just like if you said there's a big difference between a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Right.
Which I think is the big difference right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's spot on. That's a great way to describe this, and that's exactly what Zumwalt West has is a lineup full of 18-year-olds for the most part, and they are a gritty group for sure.
I want to talk about this because we've been watching this. It's another kid in the top 5, Austin Young. He's having a great season. He was just co-player of the week, STL Sports co-player of the week. Zumwalt East just swept Liberty. They didn't face Victor Quinn, but they did face Seth Bennis. So I think that's 2 good, solid wins for an East team that's now 9-2.
Yeah, Zumwalt East. That's a huge series win for them, and because Liberty Wentzville had been playing pretty good baseball. I saw them a week ago when Victor actually hit 4 home runs and tied the state home run record. They're a solid group, and it's not just the Victor Quinn. Connor Hutchins is a solid player. They got some guys. But yeah, that's a good series win, and anytime Austin Young's on the mound, they're going to have a chance to win. He is a frontline dude, and talk about projection. He's got it, all of that for sure.
There's a 20. I think he's 2024. I think he's a freshman, Carter Jackson, who is absolutely tearing the cover off the baseball. And I didn't see if you had him projected in the 2024s. I haven't looked, but have you seen that kid yet?
Yes, I have, and I am coming out with our 24 rankings here in about the next day, and he is a part of those. And he was in our old rankings as well. But he, regardless of class, to my knowledge, he is the fastest high school baseball player in the state of Missouri. He is hitting well. But his tool is his run game. He runs a 6.4. I think he ran a 6.48 60 for me in February. 6.6 is special. That's extremely fast in high school, and even 6.9 is fast in high school. But even for like Division I college coaches and pro scouts, they regard you got a 6.6 runner. They say that kid can run. 6.48 is special. That is elite across the country. So that kid, he's going to be a problem to deal with offensively. Just a routine ground ball. That's a challenge to throw him out. And once he's on first base, that he can score not just stolen bases, but first to third, first to home, second to home. That is a special skill set.
And when you get a kid like that on the base paths, that can destroy a pitcher, especially if one is not as mentally tough as you need and understands how to hold a runner and it'll just kill you. You start throwing, you quit throwing strikes because you're too worried about the kid on first base, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That especially at the lower levels, but just across baseball, you make pitchers uncomfortable. It gets harder. Pitching's hard enough already, but you start worrying about how to control a running game and who's on base, and it can get extremely challenging. And that's a nice piece for them. I'm assuming at the top of their lineup to kind of disrupt things for the pitchers. And the other thing about that running game that kind of can go overlooked, it's really not always about the stolen base or the speed on the bases. If you're distracting the pitcher and now you make a mistake to that one of those middle of the lineup guys, well, there's a double in the gap, there's a home run, there's a hard hit ball. So a lot of times that run game can be used to get kind of those big boys a better crack at things off the opposing pitching.
I guess one of the big things, the big news of the week was Timberland's left-handed pitcher, Adam, is it Hockman? Is that how you pronounce the last name?
Hatchman.
He's number 6 now overall in the 2023s for PBR. That's a good jump.
Yes, that came out yesterday. Adam is he's a special talent. For him to be regarded that high nationally is really impressive. That is a deep class in the state of Missouri. The sophomore class in the state of Missouri is extremely strong. and he's at the top of the list right now, and certainly not the only one that is talented in that class. But Adam, he's got quite a future ahead of him. 6'4" lefty. In game this spring, we've seen him pitch 88, 91. That's a clean arm action. Last year, what has me most excited about Adam is last year we invited him to our Future Games event, which is for the incoming sophomores. We're taking the best ones out of the state of Missouri, bringing them and challenging them versus other states across the country down at Lake Point in Georgia. And he was 82-84 at that event, and 6'3", and I'd venture to guess 160 pounds. 82-84. Now, he always threw strikes, and he even at 82-84, he had a swing and miss fastball. Well, a winner, and you see this happen all the time, and I'll say that about the rankings and things like that. It doesn't take long for those things to become outdated because kids change so fast, and you go through one off season in a wintertime where that kid grows another inch, puts on 15, 20 pounds, gains a little more athleticism, a little more strength, and now goes from 82-84 to 88-91, and he developed a breaking ball. He came to one of our events, our Missouri preseason all-state event in February, and was 89-91. Like, holy smokes, this kid has taken a jump. And then you go out and see him again early in the year, and it's the same thing. And he has got a future. And if he continues on this climb, he's got a chance to have a pretty good run here in baseball.
I'm excited to see how we go. I mean, I think you're talking about a kid who is one of the top arms in the area, and he's a sophomore. So you got a couple more years to watch him. So it's going to be exciting.
That's always fun. I think that's the best part of it is, we're going to see these kids for the next 3-4 years, or at least 2-3 years. And
absolutely. Yeah.
And I always think, what's that next step? You see that young man that you saw, as a sophomore, and then at some point, all of a sudden he's drafted over here and he's playing at, in Busch Stadium or somewhere like that. And you go, yeah, I remember watching that kid at Francis Howell, or I went over to here and watched it. And I think that to me is, I think, an experience in and of itself, that you saw that talent and it's reached its full potential.
Yeah, no, that is fun to follow. And there's been obviously a number of them in the area over the years, and Max Scherzer comes to mind, there's been plenty of them that have gone on to make the big leagues, and that it's fun. You see them as kids and high school baseball players, and then they go on to college or pro ball, and then 4 or 5 years later, you see them on TV, and some of them have done great things, make the All-Star team, win a Cy Young, et cetera. And it's you never know which one it's going to be. And I say this to guys when I'm out talking to teams or at events. It's not always the number one guy. Even statistically, a first-round draft pick has less than a 50% chance of making the big leagues. So it's not a slam dunk. Albert Pujols was, I believe, a 13th rounder. So it is an inexact science, and whoever's ranked 50th might end up being a big league all-star, and whoever's ranked first in the country, there's no guarantee of success. So it is fun to follow and is exciting.
Well, you look back and you never know. I mean, Barry Larkin was the second baseman for his summer team. He's a Hall of Fame baseball player. Right?
Exactly.
But
that's the fun of it. And that's why we like to talk about this. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's great for the kids. It's great to bring baseball out into a broader scope for fans, and see if we can't really, bring more fans into the high school level. I think that, Missouri is a great baseball state with the Cardinals on this side, Kansas City Royals on the other. I know the Royals aren't as good right now, but they have a good tradition. You have two
They won a World Series a couple of years ago,
right?
So
exactly, and so I think this is great, and getting people to follow these kids and bringing high school baseball more into that medium, I think is always a positive.
Absolutely.
So, hey, we good?
Let them go watch some baseball.
Yeah, we got to let you get down the road, man. You got to get to some baseball watching.
I'm excited to do it. It's going to be a fun day, fun couple days.
Hey, Kevin, we appreciate you being on the show and bringing your knowledge, and always a pleasure. We'll see you again next week, yes?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and next time I won't be on the road, and I will be ready to go. So
even if you are, man, we don't care. We appreciate it. We love that. Hey, if you throw out your Twitter handle, so if people want to follow what's going on at the ball games this week, what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, so we got a couple. We got PBR Missouri, which is just at PBR Missouri. And then this is terrible. I should know this off the top of my head, and I don't. I'm not, despite tweeting a bunch, like I am not like super
right
into social media. So and then at PBR_Moulder, at PBR_Moulder. So we use both of those to cover high school baseball across the state.
So if you are throwing stuff up there, if you want to follow it, where he's going to be out there, you're going to be out there pretty much all weekend. Yes, no,
yes.
You just don't. So I'll be looking to follow it. Want to see what's going on out there with those teams. I think it's going to be a really good weekend, right?
Yes, and the other platform we've been using a lot, which I know even less about, is Instagram. And that's just a fun, what I like about Instagram though, and that's just PBR Missouri. We just put a lot of stuff up. It's not necessarily, every high end, it's just, it's more game action. Like a kid knocks in a run, we'll just post it, and kind of keeps you up to date on the game that's going on. So when guys score runs or there's big plays, we'll just post it on Instagram, and that's been a good platform to share some of the stuff going on around the state as well.
I agree with you on that one because I like Youth Baseball Midwest. We have our Instagram account, and that's what we use. I don't have a Twitter handle for YBM. Don't know that I'll probably get one, because we like Instagram because, like you said, you can put a quick video up or a graphic or something like that. It's just a lot more fun, actually, I think.
Yeah. It's a good, quick way to do it.
Exactly. So, but you got those out there. Twitter, your Instagram is PBR Missouri, at PBR Missouri, correct?
Yes.
We'll get those up on the show here you should see them on the screen there, folks. Kevin, thanks again for being on the show. Matt, as always.
Thanks, Kev.
Appreciate you guys. I'm going to run.
Take care.
Thank you. See you next week.
We'll see you next week. Everybody, remember, you pitchers keep throwing strikes. You hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
We'll